The shocking fact. Right now, in cities across the world, something strange is happening to the human brain. Not because of a virus, not because of stress at work, because of heat. A rise of just 2 degrees Celsius in your bedroom at night can cut your deep sleep by nearly 50%. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why summer doesn't just make you sweaty and tired, it quietly rewires how your brain thinks, decides, and feels for weeks afterward. Welcome back to Apex. Today we're going to break down the psychology of people who are genuinely deeply tired of the summer heat, and why that tiredness is not laziness. It's biology fighting a war you can't see. The melting brain. Here's the first thing nobody tells you. Heat doesn't just make your body tired. It makes your brain measurably worse at thinking. Researchers at Harvard tracked students during a heat wave and found that those in non-air-conditioned rooms scored up to 13% lower on cognitive tests than students in cooled rooms. Same intelligence, same sleep, same effort. The only difference was the temperature of the air around their heads. Your brain runs on precise chemical reactions, and those reactions are temperature sensitive. When your core temperature rises even slightly, your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for focus, patience, and decision-making, starts running on a fraction of its usual power. You're not imagining that summer fog in your head. It's real and it's measurable. But that's not even the craziest part. The sleep thief. The second struggle is the one most people blame on everything except the real cause, broken sleep. Your body needs its core temperature to drop by about 1 degree to fall into deep sleep. In summer, especially in a poorly cooled room, that drop simply doesn't happen. So your brain stays in a lighter, more fragile stage of sleep all night, cycling in and out of dreams instead of resting. This is why so many people report waking up in July feeling more exhausted than when they went to bed. It's not insomnia. It's not anxiety. It's simple thermodynamics working against your nervous system every single night for 3 straight months. And here's where it gets darker. Sleep researchers have found that chronic heat-disrupted sleep doesn't just make you groggy, it raises cortisol, your primary stress hormone, by measurable amounts within just a few nights. Your body starts treating summer like a low-grade, ongoing threat. The short fuse. Struggle 3. You're not usually this irritable? So why does everyone seem so much more annoying in July? Psychologists call this the heat aggression hypothesis, and it's backed by decades of data. Cities see measurable spikes in arguments, road rage, and even violent crime as temperatures climb. Not because people become different people, but because heat directly interferes with impulse control. Think of your patience like a battery. Cognitive load, poor sleep, and physical discomfort all drain that battery simultaneously in summer. By the time someone cuts you off in traffic, or a coworker sends one more passive-aggressive email, you have almost nothing left to filter your reaction with. But that's not even the craziest part. The motivation collapse. Struggle 4 is the guilt spiral. You feel lazy for not wanting to do anything, and that guilt makes everything worse. Here's the science behind it. Your body redirects blood flow toward your skin in hot weather to help cool you down, which means less blood, oxygen, and glucose are reaching the muscles and brain regions responsible for motivation and drive. This isn't a character flaw. It's literal resource reallocation. Your body is triaging survival over ambition. The person who wants to build an empire in January can feel like they've completely lost their fire in July. And biologically, they kind of have. Their body borrowed the fuel and spent it on staying alive. So when you cancel plans, skip the gym, or can't focus past 2 p.m. in summer, you're not failing. You're running a different operating system than you were 3 months ago. Struggle 5 explains why summer, despite being marketed as the social season, the social withdrawal, is when a lot of people quietly withdraw. Heat increases what psychologists call sensory overload sensitivity. Bright light, noise, crowds, and sticky skin-to-skin contact all become more irritating than usual because your nervous system is already working overtime just to regulate your temperature. So the invitation to a crowded rooftop party in 35-degree heat doesn't sound fun, it sounds like an assault on an already exhausted system. People label this as antisocial or unmotivated. In reality, it's self-preservation. Introversion has a thermostat, and in summer, everyone's dial gets turned up whether they're introverted or not. But that's not even the craziest part. Here's struggle 6, and it's the one that makes people doubt themselves the most. The false memory of summer. Why does summer feel worse now than it did as a kid? Nostalgia paints childhood summers as endless, joyful, and cool enough. But researchers point out something called rosy retrospection. Our memory naturally edits out discomfort and keeps the highlight reel. You don't remember the sweat-soaked car rides. You remember the ice cream. Combine that distorted memory with genuinely rising average temperatures over the past few decades, and you get a perfect storm of confusion. You're not going soft. You're comparing a real, hotter present to an edited, cooler past that never fully existed the way you remember it. Now, someone always says, but people survived way hotter summers. Counter-objection block. 4,000 of years without air conditioning. Why is this generation suddenly so fragile? Fair question. Here's the answer. Our ancestors' bodies were adapted to a slower pace. With no fluorescent lights, no 9 to 5 indoor schedules, and no expectation of high cognitive output every single afternoon. Modern life demands laptop-sharp focus at 3 p.m. in a heatwave, something almost no human body across history was ever asked to deliver. It's not that we're weaker, it's that we're asking more of ourselves, during the exact hours our biology is working hardest just to keep us alive. And this brings us to the final, deepest struggle. The identity confusion. When your focus fades, your patience shortens, your motivation dips, and your social battery drains. All within the same 8-week window. It's easy to start asking a much scarier question. Is this actually me now? Am I becoming lazier, colder, less capable as a person? That question is where most people get stuck, because they're mistaking a seasonal biological state for a permanent personality change. Your brain, your patience, and your ambition didn't disappear. They're temporarily reallocated toward the very unglamorous, very unsexy job of keeping your internal temperature from becoming dangerous. But that's not even the craziest part. The reframe. Because once you understand this mechanism, something shifts. The moment you stop treating summer fatigue as a personal failure and start treating it as a predictable biological cycle, the guilt starts to lift. You stop fighting yourself and start working with your actual state. You lower your expectations for 2 p.m. decision-making. You protect your sleep environment like it's a job. You stop scheduling your hardest conversations during a heat wave. And stop being surprised when your patience runs thin by evening. This isn't about hating summer or blaming the weather for everything. It's about recognizing that your brain runs on a physical machine, and that machine has operating limits. Respecting those limits isn't weakness. It's the same kind of self-awareness that lets you use your mind well the other 9 months of the year. Conclusion. So if you felt foggier, shorter-tempered, less motivated, or quietly withdrawn this summer, know this, it's not a flaw in your character. It's a body doing exactly what bodies are built to do under heat stress. And now you understand exactly why. Which of these 7 struggles hit closest to home for you? Let us know in the comments. And if this explains something about yourself you couldn't quite name before, hit like and subscribe so we can keep decoding the hidden mechanics of the human mind together. I'm Apex. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.